Welcome to Nomad at Night, starring the one and only Nomad.
Yo, welcome to Nomad at Night. I'm your host, Nomad. Welcome, No Maniacs. You just left the first ever in-game broadcast from us, and we got clipped short. We got to see about 2.5 quarters of football, which was good, man, and was a lot of stuff we gleaned from it. A lot of conversation that's waiting to be had right this moment about that game. And we're gonna hear from everybody. We're gonna hear from the chat. We're gonna talk about it amongst each other as panelists. I'm not going. This is when we can kind of let it go right about now. Kind of express yourself and let everybody know how you feel about what you saw. And so I'm not going to take a bunch of meat off the bone just yet. But I am going to pass it down to the Canuck. We're going to go counterclockwise with this one to Keith after that, and then to Brian, and we'll get this thing going. Let's give him some pleasantries.
Pleasantries? All right. What it do, No Maniacs? Quick little game happened to end a little bit earlier than we thought it was going to, but there's ups and downs as far as we're concerned. We'll get into all of that, but first, give you guys some love. There's Patty Laura right there. What it do, Patty? Thanks for coming through. Thanks for joining us for our the inaugural watch party here. Jay Grizz, thanks for rolling with us and keeping Don Burr at bay. Well played, sir. Smitty, I got some words for you a little bit later on. We'll touch on that very soon. Smitty Q as well. Relentless Mikey, the dark to light. Daryl Gibson's with us. Billy O is also with us. Man, let's chop it up a little bit. But I do have one thing to say before I pass it to my homie Bishop, and it goes a little something like this. Who in the world is calling effing Johnson? Bishop, on to you, brother.
What's going on? I'm back at home, y'all. No Maniacs, what's going on? It's football season, y'all. Can you believe it? Football season. I'm jacked. I am so glad to be amongst y'all, man. It is such a wonderful, feels so good to be back with my fellas and to see you all in the chat. It is so good. Really quick, because I know we got to move on. Let me give my pleasantries to my people who ain't been around for a minute. A couple of them been watching, but I got to give it out to my number one girl, Sharita, a.k.a. Rita. What's going on, girl? Felicia, my boy Stuart, who got a birthday tomorrow, y'all. If you got anything in your glass, toast to my man Stuart out in Florida. Happy birthday to you, my brother. And then, of course, my niece, Sophie. But more importantly, my boy V-Dub up in the D. But my fellas, and to the No Maniacs, it's football season, y'all. Let's go. Bear down. Brian, what's going on, baby?
Well, I guess I'm all right that football started, even though I was put on a gag order. But
Country Center's crusty.
all shit aside, hey, I'm very happy. Thanks for you guys showing up the second go around, and this one we can more or less talk about what we've seen in the game. Take it away, Nomad.
Well, first of all, thank you everybody that showed up for the first ever in-game broadcast, the watch party. We didn't know what to expect, but the No Maniacs do what they do, and they show up no matter what we do. We love y'all, man. I'm just gonna say that to y'all right off top. We fucking love y'all, man. Y'all are the best. We create the best community in the Chicago Bears podcast community. There's a lot of communities out there, but this one, I fucks with y'all on a real ass level, because no matter what we do, y'all show up. That was right off the cuff. Somebody asked us to do a live in-game broadcast. We had been talking about it, but the plan wasn't always put together. But we decided, you know what, man, we got a hell of a supporting staff, man, and that's y'all. So everybody that showed up for that, man, we love y'all so much, and thank you for always supporting whatever we doing, man. That shit reverberates. That love is felt, And I just want y'all to know it's reciprocated. I love y'all for loving us, man. And before we get going into the conversation, let me give a special shout out to Simone Biles, who won the all around one more time. We said that in the in game, but man, she did her thing, man. She's an incredible gymnast. They ain't got shit to do with football, but that is an incredible human being right there. I'm telling you, that woman is special, and she's the wife of somebody on the team right now. And I just want to say, congratulations to her, man. But thank you guys for being here. Let's start this thing off, man. Well, we need to start off. The game started off pretty slow, pretty vanilla. And right away, Tyson Bagent came out and he did his thing. He looked pretty smooth and clean. Can't say anything bad about him. The offensive line looked pretty decent around him. That was okay, but we got a couple of 3-and-outs, and he was out of there. And then next thing you know, you see the defense. They were knifing through that defense with Zach Pickens on the field. I'm not saying Zach Pickens is the creme de la creme, and we need to, highlight him to massacre him. No, we don't need to do that. But I was expecting a little bit more from him. But since we didn't see that, the defense did look pretty rough in the run game. Pretty rough. They went right through us. Second, we didn't see guys getting around the corner on the pass rush very well. But I'm just not gonna really pound these guys just yet until I actually watch the tape and see the details of what was going on. It could have been some combo blocking going on that I didn't see live. Could be some stuff going on, but on its face, it didn't appear that we have guys that could really get around the corner. There's a few guys that stood out, and we're gonna talk about those highlighted guys. But I think if we were to take one particular thing away from this game, I think that's what everybody's going to be talking about come tomorrow, is the defensive line not having what we thought we had on the second and third units. What say you kids?
I say bingo, like you nailed it, right? Like all the talk this last week has been about Nate Davis. Where's Nate Davis? How come he's hurt again, Nate Davis? I don't think that's going to be the conversation there for the rest of the week moving forward. And not to say that Nate Davis and his injury or lack of practicing is not a story, but to say that this offensive line did all right today. They put numbers up on the board. There wasn't very much pressure. Quarterbacks were able to do things, and I'm talking third string, second string quarterbacks were able to get things done on the field. Whereas the guys who were getting to the quarterback or getting in the backfield were not guys that you would expect. And that's, to me, a little bit concerning. Somebody needs to sort of look at those guys. I'm going to ask the chat, you guys who are watching the game, you guys who are watching it with me, was there ever a point where you saw either Austin Booker or Dominique Robinson and said they're in the backfield?
Timeout right there, because Smitty just gave a $5 super chat just to pledge that Don Burr, we treat you like shit on a stick. And that's my that's what that's what he wanted.
Smitty, that's all. That's well worth. Smitty, if you were in the other chat, basically for the last, when they're trying to figure out whether this game was going to be played or not from a delay perspective, and eventually terminated the game and canceled it, the chat was just eating Don's lunch. It was a beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. You just missed it. But in any event, yes,
on a stick.
Doo-doo on a stick.
On a stick.
Sorry, Detroit.
This is a duty.
Sorry, Detroit.
Do on a stick.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no penetration. There's no counter moves. There's no bull rush. I didn't see anything along those lines when we've got a pass rusher trying to get to a quarterback. No counter, no bull rush. A lot of speed, but speed only gets you to the corner, right? Like you have to bend around that or you're stuck.
So, kids, a lot of people are going to be talking about this right now. You might as well get it out your system. A lot of people are going to be talking about where was Austin Booker.
Well, hold on. I'll give you a quick answer to that. They just drafted the kid. He ain't going anywhere. He's not on the
Right.
hot seat.
Right.
Right? Like quick, easy, simple answer that he's not on the hot seat. He's a developmental talent. They just invested in this
They were
draft.
expecting to see a flash, and they didn't see it. That's what.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we didn't see a flash. I was expecting to see one as well, but less unfortunate for a 2024 draftee than it is for 2021 or 22 draftee.
Well,
right?
is it safe to say, kids, that maybe, just maybe, this being the first game,
Rust.
we were looking for something game one that perhaps we'll probably get game two. Maybe it's just a little too early.
Yeah,
just a little
Rust
too
for
early.
sure.
Because
Sure.
because I'm quite sure that probably I would like to think that they're seeing what they want to see in practice. But again, that's just practice. We need to see it against opposing players at game time speed. But let's wait. Let's see what the second preseason game looks like, and then we can make that evaluation and say, you know what? Yeah, they got to go out and spend some money.
So I'm going to double down on what you're saying, and it's not an evaluation I'm making. This is like the word evaluation is the right word to use, because that's what the coaching staff is going to do over the course of the next month through those games, through training camp, etc. Like they're evaluating. I'm just telling you what I saw today. You know, in a vacuum, we didn't have no pass rush, y'all. Very simply put, in a vacuum. Again, next week. The upside to the next preseason game is that the excuses for not playing the first team start to dwindle a little bit. So maybe we'll get the opportunity to see an Austin Booker or Dominique Robinson again with the first team performing, or Zach Pickens in that same scenario, Nomad, to sort of go back to what you're saying. I was less worried about Zach Pickens and him really showing out today, because like, you're going to double team the guy who's causing the most havoc. And if that happens to be Zach Pickens, they double team Zach Pickens. He's not going to be as, he's not going to have as much pressure or be allowed to create as much pressure when now there's two other guys on the outside who can't get the job done on a single team situation.
Well, real quick, man. Nick Albright, I got to give him a shout out here, man, because I think the sentiment, and I'm not trying to play to the crowd. I'm going to tell you what I saw. And I'm going to explain to you, to the best of my ability, why we saw what we were looking at. Austin Booker, safe at home plate. He ain't going nowhere. He's going to be given time to develop. Those other guys, your Daniel Hardys, your Khalid Kareems. I don't even know if I saw Dominique Robinson out there. Did he even play?
Oh, he was out there. I'll tell you that for sure. Mm-hmm.
So those three guys are the ones, that particularly, these are guys that have been here, at least we got guys that have been here a year, guys that have been here 3 years. You know what I mean? That is, I told people on Twitter, if you follow me at Nomad Network and on Twitter, I said this very clearly. After this game, there was going to be an evaluation. There's going to be evaluation in that department. I'm talking about in that position group. There's going to be a determination looking at that game. And Bishop is right. You don't need to jump all the way to 100% conclusion. But in order for you to move at the speed that you need to move to, is there something that you can do now? There's going to be teams cutting a couple of guys. I think there's a couple of cuts already happening. Is there something out there for us? I doubt it. Is there a trade that we've been thinking about pulling the trigger on? Possibly. And so this just puts you further into a conundrum as a GM and as a coach, looking at your depth and seeing guys that Nick is absolutely right. Nobody could get home. Nobody could get home. This is the first game, but I have to admit that's what stuck out to me. There weren't guys getting home, and you expect your second wave of guys that are coming in. There's at least one guy that can get home. You saw a flash of Daniel Hardy. You saw a flash of
Hardy,
Kareem, but you didn't see guys consistently be able to beat their guys and get home. So Nick is absolutely right. We've got to talk about that, and it's got to be something they emphasize.
No pressure, right? Both of those guys, like the two guys you just mentioned, Hardy and Kareem, did get pressure. They did get into the backfield. It was those two guys. Now, in my opinion, they're not the high, like they're not the two higher top of the depth chart. You know what I'm saying? Thanks, Brian. Like, that's exactly where I'm going with that. Do I expect them both to make the team at this point? Kind of do, but we'll see what the next few weeks entail, and I'll sort of defer to where Bishop is there. A lot of development to be had, a lot of conversations to be had, a lot of we definitely need to see these second stringers mixed in with the first team. Like, we really need to see that, because that kind of changes the dynamic. Then the question of, all right, can we survive on a single team? Can we single team this guy, or do we got a double team?
Question though, kids. When you said you saw Dominique Robinson, I didn't notice it. Did you see him on the inside or outside?
Outside.
Outside.
He was
outside.
Clear on that. I wanted to be clear on that.
But you know what?
Playing his position, he was just getting. It's sorry, Bishop. It's just the same thing I've been seeing, and I see it. I've seen it a lot with my son. Right, like I've seen it a lot. It's just if you're focused and dead set as a speed rusher, and he's very fast, you're going to put all your energy and effort to try and get around the corner. Mm-hmm. And the fact of the matter is, the tackle will let you go and then follow you. And now you got to figure out how to get back, because you're washed out every single time, and he just gets continuously washed out. So it's up to him to determine how to come back into the play, or just motor and keep going with the play. You can't just, you know what I mean? You can't just get washed out and stop. Games, like, the play's still going, bro. And it's not just him. Booker did it a couple of times today too, but that's all right. Like I say, I'm looking at Booker as a developmental guy. He will get better as he goes. Dom Rob, like, you could see physically how much bigger he is than he was last season. He's actually kind of imposing out there. If you were paying attention, if you got to see him, he's big out there and long. I just don't understand how he allows himself to get wrapped up and not continue to motor or counter somehow. Like, gotta get a counter. Needs more tools, man.
Well, there's a couple of things.
Before you go, Bishop, I know you're ready to do this, but my guy just bumped in here, and I got to bring him on the stage. There he is, right there, the sandwich master extraordinaire.
What up, my ninjas? Bear down, Bears faithful, all you motherfuckers.
Cheers, Triple R. Good to have you back, bro.
Hey, we were just talking about. We're gonna get to you right at the Bishop.
Go ahead. I gotta refill my drink anyway.
Go do it.
So this is what I want to touch on. Two things. One, as a fan, we got to first remember none of the starters played tonight. Okay, so what we're looking at we're looking for those that's going to fill holes. Okay, so we're looking at developmental players, guys that have been in the system 1 or 2 years already, along with the rookies, who's going to fill specific holes. One hole in particular that we're going to be highly focused on is that opposite of Sweat at that other DN. And then the other one is along that defensive line, 3 tech, 1 tech, 0 tech. We're going to be looking at those positions. So we're going to be paying close attention to those positions. So we got to be mindful of a couple things. What are they seeing in practice as far as the coaches? And then what we see, because we don't get to see what practice, what are we going to see during game speed, game time during the preseason? So as long as we keep that primary focus, I think we'll be okay in terms of helping with our own personal evaluations as fans, who we think or what we think they should do in terms of, do they go out and get somebody in a trade, who gets cut, or do we have what we need in the locker room?
Hey, Bishop, Smitty called you an old motherfucker. He said, "Why you still woke?"
Oh man, it's all good, baby. I stay up super late. Trust me, I'm up.
I'm fucking
I'm
with you.
up
Go
later.
ahead. Finish
I'm
your
up
shit.
later than most of y'all. But anyway, believe that. Uh, but with that being said, to what Kids was saying in terms of like with Dom Rob, what I'm expecting from him is to see that during the offseason, he's picked up some additional moves so he's not getting forced out and knows how to get back in when that quarterback steps into that pocket. So I know what you're saying, kids, and I completely agree with you on that. And same for Book. Now with Booker, I'm gonna give him a little more grace because he's a rookie. But Dom Rob, now this is your third year into this, man. You should have the necessary skills so you're not getting ran out of the play, and more importantly, your feet should never stop. So that's what I'm looking for with regard to him. Now, I don't have no concerns about Zach Pickens, me personally. I just don't. I think the kid is going to be dynamic. I just think that they got to determine whether they're going to have him playing 3 tech or they're going to have him at 1. And once they determine that, then I think he's going to be fine. I'm not concerned with him at all. My focus this entire offseason during this time, it will be that opposite DN spot. I want to see what production we get out of there. If that means, and at first I was opposed to seeing them make a trade to bring somebody in, but now I'm not, because I see where we have a chance to shock some people and jump into the playoff race and maybe even make a run this year, because next year's schedule ain't gonna be like this year's schedule.
All right. Well, Nick, hey, Trip. I think Michael Copeland, put the Bulls out. There's a lot of good comments in here, man. Lots of them. And I say a lot of them, I mean, people making some damn good comment. But the one I'm circling for right now is Michael Copeland, who said that this thing was all about he basically said this thing is all about trying to find your depth.
Well, that and yes, and all right, let's address the first thing first, the depth. Yes, that's a very good point. You would really have liked to have seen who stood out tonight, whose number you kept saying, damn, I got to jot that number down. Damn, I keep seeing that number. I kept seeing 50 a lot. It wasn't always good, but I kept seeing him a lot in there. The Hound of Baskerville, he had that penalty, or that was a touchdown, so it was a good penalty, but he was out there a lot. And then there were a lot of guys that are out there that just didn't really seem to do shit. And that was kind of part and parcel because of the play calling and all that fun stuff, but nobody really jumped out like, oh, okay, Leon Jones, I see you on that one play, but Hicks, the safety, he was active, but not really game changing. So, I mean, we're seeing athletic abilities that we haven't seen in this franchise in many years as far as depth, because, none of the starters played. So this was all second, third string, please let me make the team kind of guy. Like Colin Johnson, was he the only wide receiver we had out there tonight?
Something was intentional about that, wasn't it?
Just enough.
And so it's like, are we showcasing him or what are we doing? I don't know. But it's like, oy vey. I try not to worry about what they're doing because they're going to figure it out. Now, the second part of what I was talking about earlier was what we're also seeing is a better actual cohesiveness, flow, makes fucking sense on offense, even though it was vanilla. It's like, all right, you run here. That was a nice little run through there. Okay, nice pass concept routes and all that good stuff. And it's like, okay, there's a flow to the offense that we didn't see around here with the Luke Getsy. And it just felt refreshing. It's like, okay, this looks like an actual pro offense. You suck them in with this play, suck them in with that play, hit them deep with that play, touchdown. It's like, oh, that's the way you're supposed to draw. That's the way you draw it up, and it's supposed to work. And we were seeing a lot of that, even though there wasn't a lot of game planning, and it was still basically vanilla. So the player aspect for depth, yes, but then also just a little inclination of Shane Waldron and, you know, how his kind of mind works on offense. That was also refreshing to see.
What say you, Brian?
Well, first of all, seeing how that field, the condition of that,
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, man.
Oh man, that was horrible.
I was pissed off when Floof said that they wasn't going to start the starters. I thought they're shitting the bed missing this opportunity, and I'm glad that he didn't play them because, I mean, if one of the starters got injured in a preseason game, come on. That's number one with me. Number two, I would like to know, especially the defense, what was said to the defense at the beginning of the game and what was said to them at halftime, because that looked like a tale of two teams. That second half, they came out with their hair on fire and their ass catching. They was making tackles. They was stuff. Granted, it was only third quarter that they played, but they was aggressive.
That was a good
colloquial. Let me throw something in here, man, because I'm glad you brought that up too as well, Brian, because you know, I could tell you from experience, man, a little bit that you in a camp long enough and you working out and you doing training and you bring in coaches that are really trying to emphasize individual stuff with individual guys. I'm you know what I'm thinking about, and I got Zach Pickens in mind, right? I'm not here to pick on him. Matter of fact, what I'm going to say to him is kind of complimentary to the coaches more than anything else. You get coaches that come in and harp on something, right? So let's just say my position coach as a DB said, hey, Nomad, man, make sure when you get out of your back pedal, you're not sticking your foot in the mud. And so what that means, not sticking your foot in your mud, means putting your foot down and standing straight up. Stay down, put your foot down, you know, kind of out of your back pedal, kind of gear down instead of sticking your foot in the mud and trying to, you know, because that's forcing you to stand straight up. Like back pedal, gear down with a couple more choppy steps instead of one hard step and come forward and see how that works. You got coaches teaching that kind of shit in the training camp that they're out there concentrating on individually as players. And so that's why I'm not going to be so heavily against this person or that person or trying to, you know, say that, all right, we ain't got what we need. But it's particular things that did stand out in this game, and that pass rush and guys getting around the corner and getting home did stand out. But I just wanted to say and be devil's advocate for the sake of the coaches and the players to understand, so people understand that this shit's in your head. You've been hearing this shit for weeks. Dude, we need you to concentrate on, you know, one move. I need you to play. I need you to stack this dude up, and talking about Zach Pickens and shit. Just concentrate on that in this game. Next game, we're going to start working on the next move. It could be that going on literally with him, Dominique Robinson, and whoever else on that team. But that is not going to save a couple of those guys that's on this roster from maybe getting cut in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Well, it's inevitable. You know, you got to get down to a certain number, and they're above that number, so people got to go.
Yeah. So
now my question is, in the dismissal of players, who is worthy and would polls find some value in? You know, we saw a lot of Larry Bourne tonight. He's projected to make a lot of money. You know, is he gonna make the roster and earn his check, or is he gonna be like, well, we can replace you for this or whatever? We saw, you know, Khalil Herbert, and it's like, yeah, well, of course we need him, but we also saw Rojo, who ran pretty decent when he got the ball, and also we didn't see Swift, so that's pumping that running back room back. But it's like, all right, well, we should maybe keep him because it's a 82 game season now, whatever the fuck it is. And, you know, running backs are always going out with a concussion, and, you know, now they're down for a month. So we need depth in that area. So it's just a lot of moving parts that are starting to churn right now. And it's like, well, who's going to be on, 53-man roster? Who's going to be remaining?
Mm-hmm.
Can I speak to Michael Copeland real quick? Michael Copeland is listen. He says, I highly doubt we see anyone cut. He's probably more likely right than not. I'm gonna tell you why. It's gonna be between two things. See, one thing about Kevin Warren is not he's not a football guy. He's a businessman, right? He is a straight out, flat out businessman, Godfather type person. He's out there with connections, and he's the type of person that makes shit happen. He's not a football guy, but he is observing with normal eyes like your average fan is out here right now. And one thing that was a pretty general observation over the whole offseason was a concern with guys being able to get around the corner and get to the quarterback. So if you think for a second, he didn't see that. He didn't notice that this guy had clean pockets and was just throwing the ball at will, and I'm not here to bring doom and gloom, Barrelissimo, no, but I'm talking about generally being pragmatic about it. Kevin Warren is going to, let's just say Ryan Poles had on his mind a move or two that he may have wanted to do. Kevin Warren's probably the kind of guy that said, you know what, Ryan, if you were thinking and leaning this way and you were thinking about making a move like this is one game now. Well, never mind what I'm saying. This is one game. This may not happen now, but if that continues, this next preseason game, and you start seeing that guys aren't getting around the corner and the quarterback is sitting there with clean pockets, I would say one thing though. Byron Cowart, you better goddamn circle that name. He was the guy on the defensive front that stood out to me the most. But as far as those edge rushers go, that's gonna if you got a GM that's sitting right there on the chalk line, whether to go forward or backward, this could be something that makes you maybe want to trigger a move or two. I don't know, but I guarantee you all this week we're gonna be talking about it. I guarantee you that. But that being said, next man up, go ahead.
Yeah, Mike's right. We've got a ways to go before we start really talking about cuts. We got a little ways to go. A lot of evaluation to be had over the course of the next few weeks, especially, as I was saying, when they mix this up a little bit more so with the first team. There's definite value in understanding how you can deploy a defensive edge rusher, right? Like a defensive end, how you can deploy him. And like I said it like that for a reason, right? Teams are going to scheme against your defense. When you actually have the guys that are out there, we'll get a better understanding of how they can utilize that other guy on the other side on a one-on-one. And this is really where my problems with what I saw today come to play. I didn't really see these guys winning in a one-on-one situation much, if at all, today. And I say that really specifically talking about two guys. I'll leave the names out for now. Definitely set them enough for the day. But there were other guys who did step up, and we were able to see some of that. Khalid Kareem was out there doing his thing. Byron Cowart, just like you said, he's not an edge rusher, but definitely was able to take advantage of the day to some capacity. Mr. Hardy was out there doing it. There was definitely some positives on that defensive line, but let him, give him the opportunity to mix it up with the first team, and I think we might see something a little bit better. To be a little bit more positive, guys, we won this game. We're all a little, maybe we are a little doom and gloom to take
because of the weather.
We're doing what people come here to see us.
Well, we got to talk. I'm with it, right? Like, we got to talk about the good and the bad. But I think we put Barrelissimo, big ups to you, brother. I think we put Barrelissimo to bed. I know it's late in the UK for sure, but he's like, man, these guys just pooping on the edge rusher. To be frank, there was a lot of upsides on the offense. I know we're really focused on the defense right now.
QB, baby, QB.
Those quarterbacks look great today, which means that the scheme works. The scheme is understandable. Looks like the guys who were under center today have a pretty decent grasp of what Shane Waldron's trying to put down. You mentioned a little bit earlier about Colin Johnson, and you're saying you felt that it might have been sort of like a point of contention, right? Like, get him the ball. I think it might have been, and the reason being, the guy's massive and massive frame, super length just to corral the ball, and we saw that 3 times today, twice for touchdowns. Nothing wrong with that. Get him out there on the field, get him some balls, and that's the type of stuff that can happen.
Look at Squeegee he came with the bullshit tonight because he's real with it. Squeegee, I enjoyed watching the offense work, especially the underneath stuff to the tight ends. Very, very creative. Dude, he is, man, you know what? That's and you know what?
Well said.
The shit that you saw working is the very, very simple stuff, man. You know, go through your reads, check it down, drop it off to your tight ends, see if that seam route is one-on-one, hit it. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff was very, very fluent during the game. Stuff you didn't see going on a whole lot last year, man. It's just it was just some real nice quarterback play going on by Ripien in particular. Circle that name, Byron Coward. Really, really nice performances today. I haven't seen the game, and we ain't had time to break none of this stuff down. But the stuff you can see on its face, you definitely circle Ripien because he knows exactly what he's doing in this offense. Definitely circle Byron Coward. That dude showed up tonight in a big way. You saw him flash over and over again. If you were like me, paying attention to the D line.
You know what? I'm glad you segued into that, Nomad, as well as Kez. I'm not going to put so much emphasis on individual play as much as what I took from tonight was the schemes. So offensively, we see that we really have an actual a play caller who have put together schemes. Ripien, as well as the other quarterbacks, did very well in just carrying out the schemes. So we know now that we have schemes in place that can produce positive yardage.
Well said, sir.
You know, so for me, it's not so much the individual play because we already know who QB1 is, but what Ripien showed us was what the schemes are supposed to look like because he's been in them. So I take that away for the offense. Defensively, first half was doo-doo on a stick, to say the least.
I thought that was Don Burke.
With him too. But the second half, we actually saw what the defense is supposed to look like. Now, of course, that should be times 10 with the starters out there. But I think what we can take in the totality of the very first preseason game is that we have talent, first and foremost. We have schemes, which means that we are putting together game plans that should be exciting to watch, but productive. And if we can get that each and every preseason game leading into the regular season, I think we should take off and start off the regular season.
Time out, Bishop. Did I hear you say? Did I hear you mention shit on the stick?
I did say. I said. But you know, I say all this, man, for the simple fact, man, that I think we have a lot to be hopeful for. I think I'm not gonna say I think, I know that we're on to something, man. I just want to see two things. Offensively, I want to see Caleb in some preseason games for more than just 1 or 2 series. I think he needs the reps.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important that he get the reps in the preseason. Don't use the first 4 games of the season as the preseason for him. He needs those reps along with some of the other rookies and first and second year guys need those reps in the preseason. So I get it. This game, I'm okay with them not getting the reps this game. But the next couple games, I want to see them get those reps. So the last preseason game, if they sit, I'm okay with that. But the next 2 preseason games, I want to see them get reps, especially Caleb. He needs the reps because he's got to work with the offensive line, get his cadences down, get his check downs and everything. He needs that. That's important. Defensively, I want to see the guys that was on the team last year and rookies. I need to see them on the field more these next couple preseason games because we got to determine who do we have and what do we have. So
Bishop, why are you so close to the screen, number one? But what do we do when we see Detroit Lions every time we see them? We see Detroit Lions on the street.
You know, speaking of who we saw on the field, Bishop,
I tell you what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shoot you in your pinky toe.
who we did see a lot of tonight was Jatari Carter at left guard. You know, he got a lot of run.
He did. Like,
okay. So what you saying that? So what you emphasizing on that, Triple R? Do you think it's a possibility that they might move Kevin to the other side?
And they might be looking at Kevin alternatives.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm gonna be honest.
Start that shit.
Well, the reason why I say that, man, because I'm gonna be honest, man, and I was in the tether. I'm done. I'm tired of Nate Davis, bro. Give us some money back, bro.
Oh Lord, like
give us some money back.
I don't want to hear them. Nate Davis gonna take all the goddamn oxygen in the room. We talking about everything. Nate Davis didn't even fucking play today.
Hey, hadn't practiced either.
I want
be an oxygen shortage up where
Give me some money back, man. Give me some money back. That's all.
Man, Nate Davis didn't play today.
I'm pouring another drink just for that. I want some money back, Nate.
Man, we talking about the guy.
You was gonna pour another drink in.
Byron Coward, that quarterback.
That I was.
Talking about goddamn Nate Davis, man. Fuck that, man.
But no, you know what? I say that because every Nate that I know, man, every Nate that I have ever known,
all right, Brian, how you
has
feel?
Always found a way to play the system.
Tonight, Brian? How was this game for you tonight? And don't say Nate Davis. I swear to God, I'm gonna hurt a motherfucker if you say it. Don't say Nate Davis. I don't give a fuck what you say.
All right, how about them socks they wore tonight?
I get. Oh damn! Don't start with the socks, Mr. B. Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
right. Down with the Hall of Fame socks. I know you got
that spot.
Just trying to change the subject.
No, hey,
who was that playing center? Who was that?
You know what? What's his name?
What's
his name? Didn't you know what? What's his name? Number 68 is from Illinois.
The socks.
Illinois. What's his name? Kramer. He got some run. He got some run tonight. I seen him get it. He's the first person I saw to get the was it illegal motion or whatever it was. He got a little offside, got a little jumpy. But that was the only flaw I seen from the offensive line during the whole game was him having a false start. You know, that's all we've been hearing in the off season in this training camp was this offensive line needs some work. It needs some time to, get accustomed to you got second team guys playing with second team guys, third team guys playing with third team guys, which was good. You know what I mean? And I think I can attribute that to some of the Rippey and probably Colin Johnson connection was probably something to do with that. But, you didn't see all the false starts and all the stuff you were hearing in training camp. That was a positive sign. Now I want to see that same energy when the starters get out there. I'm sure they're going to play some snaps, at least a series or two next week. I just want to see that transfer, man, because it was nice looking at that, knowing that they got that part of it cleaned up. Because what I was worried about, guys, was really us getting out there and looking sloppy because we got a new offensive coordinator and the operations looking bad. I was really worried about that. But I wasn't embarrassed by looking at that stuff. And that was refreshing just to know that we can get out there and operate and do regular football shit cleanly. And that was a bright spot to me too.
Oh man,
you're right, man.
Hold on.
You're right.
I was just saying the chat gets me sometimes, man. Bishop, Go ahead, man. I'm cracking up over here.
No, I was just gonna say, Nomad is right in regard to that. I was expecting a lot more flags, a lot more penalties, and they did. They looked clean, other than the, first series or two. But other than that, I'm impressed, man. I'm gonna be honest. I'm impressed. I think that the coaching staff is doing a good job, man. I think these guys have bought into what they're trying to do. I'm excited, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
there wasn't a lot of sloppiness out there. There wasn't a
No,
lot of false starts or flags or
not
anything along
compared
those
to previous seasons.
lines. And I'm talking like regular season, previous seasons, right? Like, so we have to take
Right,
that. We have to take that.
right.
It was pretty decent out there on offense today across the board. There wasn't a lot that we can complain about, except for the fact that we didn't get to see the first team. And such as life, we'll see them over the course of the next couple of weeks. But I think they managed to pull off a pretty clean operation today. Was there a quarterback sack that I missed today?
I don't think so.
Did we get
I
sacked?
didn't see one. I don't recall seeing one.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of interesting to me. It's kind of interesting to me. But again, you kind of nailed it there, Keith. By way of scheme, we kind of got an idea as to what he's trying to do, who he's going to utilize. There is going to be a relatively heavy use of the tight end in this Shane Waldron offense, and they didn't use any of our actually real tight ends today, which is kind of cool, because imagine what the real guys will pull off in a real game, right? Like we're talking Cole Komet.
The easy shit looked easy, kids. The easy shit looked easy. But I'm gonna tell you one thing that we've talked about, haven't talked about thus far, and probably is going to be one of the more talked about things this week outside the defensive line, is I think we got a legit scrum going on at running back, the second running back. And so between Khalil Herbert and I see over there trips between Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson, man. I think we got something brewing there right there. What you think about what you saw there? Trip.
Oh, me? That was, Roschon didn't seem to get a lot of run, not as much as Herbert, but Herbert was, squirting here and there. He didn't have, obviously, a lot of reps to pass block or show any development in that portion of his game, but he's obviously a talented kid. But the issue is coming up. It's like, all right, he has to fight off, these rookies and these free agents, and he's looking good. It's just staying healthy, and that's going to be the main thing. Because if he stays healthy, he obviously has the talent to be an NFL running back. It's just, where will he fit in this depth chart with what they're asking them to do?
Go ahead, guys.
Well said.
I do think I think that's one of the things that's going to get talked about. I think it's going to be the defensive line, edge rushers. I think Zach Pickens is going to be a subject.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I think the running backs are going to be something that people are going to be talking about. Of course, Colin Johnson and Ripien. Those are going to be your subject lines coming this week. People are going to be wanting to talk about all of those things, in abundance. I do think Khalil Herbert is running the ball like he's got something to prove. I still think, when you look at this, when you look at that tape and really, really give it a study, I like Roschon Johnson and what he did. He came out, he runs that ball hard north-south. Really, really hard.
Which is
but
what
I
we
also seen him in real time miss some opportunities on some cutbacks. I seen that. But I'm going to look at that and evaluate that, in the next couple of days. But, yeah, I think we legit got something going on. I think it's a toss-up between 2 and 3. I think that the fight for 2 is real between those two running backs, man. I think it's real.
There's something that we didn't touch on with regard to the scheme that we was talking about early on before the draft, which was the amount of snaps under center. And today we saw a lot of shotgun. Is that going to be early on so that Caleb can have a smooth transition into the NFL? and into reading NFL defenses and this particular scheme. So is Shane Waldron making an adjustment to his offense to where he's normally 60 to 70% under center to where now we may see more of a 50-50 where you're going to have, maybe more shotgun versus under center starting out in the beginning, so that again the transition and introduction to the NFL for Caleb is a lot smoother than trying to force him into under center. We're going to have you play this pro style offense.
You've been watching the Nomad Network?
I took some time off, bro. I ain't gonna lie. So I could, just for today, because as you said when we was texting back and forth, that I'm jacked. I'm jacked for a reason because I took some time off, man, from football.
That's a whole last conversation we had. I mean, we got into probably a couple of choices of words, between each other and the chat, talking about, trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, talking about trying to force something on this quarterback if he's not good at, doing something. I think they're trying to mix it, but if that's not working as well, then you get him in sets that really help his skill set, and you be okay with it and let him grow with that.
And I'm with you.
That was the whole conversation, man.
And you know what? And the reason I brought that up is because I'm gonna be honest. I'm actually glad to see that it was more shotgun starting out. So that kind of gives me an indication that they're not going to try to force this kid to fit into their scheme right away based off of. They're going to play to his strengths, which if that's the case, Lord knows we've never seen that before in a Chicago offense.
Wait, hold on. Well, not to cut you off, but hold on. They had a chyron of a stat up that said the Chicago Bears have not picked number 1 in 77 motherfucking years. 77. Ain't anybody even hear that old?
I missed that. What,
Hell no.
77 years since what?
Santa might be. I don't know.
Since the Chicago Bears picked number 1 overall has been 77 years.
Yeah. But think about it though. Really, really, really think about it. You're the inaugural football team, right? You don't you build things up. You don't necessarily stink. You know what I mean? At starting things out, you're probably one of the better teams. You go for a little while, things are okay. And traditionally, this team does everything in its power, except for these last 5 years, everything in its power not to be at the bottom feeding team. We'll win 7 games and ride mediocrity for decades. But we're not necessarily trying, you know what I'm saying? We're not necessarily trying to be a bottom feeding team, and we're proud of 7. We ride 7. Yo, we've ridden 7 long. We've ridden 7 long enough, bro. We're at that level where we let somebody else stink, and we took advantage of them stinking. And here we are.
I got a legit question for everybody on this panel.
Okay.
And I want you to think about it before you answer. I'm going to give you my answer after I tell you what I want to know. I still, after everything I saw tonight, came away with a really good feeling. And it ain't, and this is still seeing that the defensive line couldn't really get around and get home. With all that being said, they had a couple of nice gas runs against us right on up the middle, and that didn't feel good. But overall, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I loved what I saw out there. And I know when I get to that film, I'm going to like it even more because I can see certain shit live during the game. It's like, oh. And I'm just note-taking it in my head mentally as to what I want to look for when I watch this shit. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of shit that was really, really good in this game. There's some shit that we circle and point out and put a pin in and want to talk about. But there was way more shit that went good in this game. You're talking about a young offense, new installs. You're talking about, a couple of guys. It's a bunch of guys that just got onto the roster, just played NFL football. and this is their first experience with it. I saw a lot more good than I saw bad, and I'm telling you, I haven't lost my my energy and my momentum about what I felt about what this team can do. I saw that secondary swarming that second half of the game. I saw those linebackers swarming that second half of the game. I saw that defensive front start to show me something that second half of the game. So I don't know what it was, whether it was the coaches got to him and said, you know what, fuck all the shit we've been telling y'all to concentrate on. Go play football, play fast, and let the chips fall where they may. But you saw a different Bears football team that second half, and that rejuvenated my spirit and made me feel really good about, they can build on that. They'll look at that shit on film, and the next game, I'm telling you, man, I've seen teams put together momentum swings in preseason that transferred onto the regular season. So what I'm telling you is that second half was a momentum ball that started rolling, and if they can capture that and bring it into the next game and start the next game with that momentum ball rolling in that way, I think we can see some really good shit. We got the win. I think it can go. I think they can take this shit places. So I feel really good about that. Do y'all feel that positivity, or do y'all feel another kind of way? I don't want to put shit in people's head.
I agree with it. I mean, there's some other things that I like that you didn't mention. One, when they scored and just right around a minute and 15 seconds, they had that defensive stop, got the ball right before halftime. To be able to march the field like that. Again, like I said earlier about, I don't know what the coaches told them, the defense before the game, or what they said at halftime, but that was two different teams that played. Their mindset was totally different. There wasn't too many penalties on either side of the ball from either team, really. For that to be the first game of the season, that's amazing. Yeah, there's plenty. You got a backup quarterback now that can play in the system. Because before, Ripien to me was just, all right, some guy that's been in the league for a few years, didn't set it on fire. His uncle was a bust. But he played, I won't say flawlessly, but he played damn good. The running game, that's a plus, which tells me, hey, the offensive line is creating holes for the running game, and the backs took advantage of it. There's a lot more pluses than there is minus.
Go ahead, Trip. What you say? What say you, Trip?
Yeah, it's a lot more like we were saying that the offensive flow looks like an actual professional offense. Can move up and down the field. The defense was, pretty vanilla. But, we know we're looking at a lot of young guys. We see that the talent level of these young competing for roster spot guys is much higher than when Poles got here. Oh. And so, that the floor is that much higher than it was or has been. And so the ceiling is got to be that much higher, if logic fits. We got young talent at, the big shit quarterback that's, been touted since he was a little shit quarterback. We got him. We got a top 10 wide receiver to go with him. We got the veterans around him at various positions. The question is still, how will the O-line come together? But that's only because we haven't seen it. And then the other question is the pass rush opposite Montez Sweat. And it's like, all right, but we still haven't seen what they're seeing in camp and who they have their faith and trust in. But if we can just zero in on these positions, that's pretty much saying that all these other rooms are, linebackers are good, secondary is good, maybe for backup safety and depth. Running back room, there's a battle. Wide receiver room, we got vets, we got young guys. It's just the offensive line and the opposite pass rush of Sweat. So, I mean, with those two quote unquote questions going into the season, the arrow's definitely up for this whole squad. Now, I'm not saying that this should be fuck yeah, we making the playoffs and going all the way. It's like, nah, there's still going to be growing process and coming together moments. And then those times where that the talent is going to show up is where we can see those flashes of, yeah, we got the talent to show up when the going gets tough. So yeah, the arrow's definitely going up from my perspective.
All right, hold on, fellas. Before anybody else takes off, let's be real. Let me make this point right quick because we just did a live in-game broadcast, man, and we need to go ahead and wrap this up. So, kids, let's and you can everybody that question that I asked, you can give that in your final thoughts, man, before we get ready to wrap this thing up. Feel free to do that, but try to keep it as pithy as you can. Now, who used to say that word pithy? I think I stole that from fucking who was this? Bill something on Fox News or something. Pithy. But kids, go ahead. Let's get your Superflex in, man. You don't have to do the whole ad if you don't want to, but let's speak that up.
Fine. No need to be pithy. See how I did that there.
Better than shit on the stick.
Yo, keep this thing super flex, super sweet. Play fantasy football. It's awesome. It's free. Join us for the league. Join us for the show. By all means, join the pay league. Buy a t-shirt. That's your buy-in. Costs $60. We prize you out at the end of the season. Regular fantasy football stuff. The one thing you'll really get to understand is that if you don't put your money where your mouth is, you're likely to taper off between now and the end of the season. It's just the facts of the matter. That's why people put a little bit of money on it. It's not a large amount of money. Wish it was bigger so there'd be a bigger prize pot, but it ain't. It's just for you Nomaniacs, just for you Bears fans, and just for fantasy football fans out there worldwide. Superflex Fantasy Football, hosted by yours truly, Kez the Canuck. Follow, like, share, subscribe, only on Kedrovision and in conjunction with the Nomad Network. And yeah, that's the bulk of it, y'all. Awesome game today. Got a lot of insights. Happy to share it with my brothers here on this show. Even though Triple R wasn't watching the game with us, great to have Triple R after. Always good to have my brother on the show. Bishop, super awesome to chop it up with you again. Been a little minute since we seen you. We got to kick it and talk good old football. Guess what, y'all? NFL is back. The Chicago Bears are back, and it's a whole new situation.
And you just got a commitment from James Hunter this weekend.
Rock and roll, James. Love it, brother. Anything you need along those lines, get at me at Kez the Canuck on Twitter. I'll walk you through the process if the need be. If anybody has any questions, by all means, follow me on Twitter at Kez the Canuck. I will walk you through the process. I have no issues doing so. It's just for fun. We're gonna have some fun this year. Brian, what do you got to say?
Oh, me. Thanks again, Nomaniacs, for sticking with us this long. That always amazes me. Bishop Keith, glad to see you. Glad to hear your input. You've been sorely missed. I'm just warming up the seat for you until you get things straightened out. And anyway, it's great to hear from you. Triple R, always a pleasure, always a laugh from you. And I know that it's going to be no BS. You're going to tell us how you feel. And for you folks, check out Chicago Sports Style or what? I screwed it up, didn't I?
God damn it, you was going so good, Mr. B.
Well, it was short notice. I'm old. I forgot.
Sports
Anyway,
Chicago
Triple R
Style.
on it.
One more time.
Well, I like the way I said it better. But anyway, listen. That's the one. Good content, funny, self-defense, and of course the meals are always great. Next.
Whoever that might be, but either
That
way,
might
I'm
be
gonna
you, Bishop.
I'm
Go
gonna go
for it.
ahead and jump in there, man. I just want to say, hey, it's been a long time. You know, the summer's been amazing for me. I'm just glad to be back amongst with my brothers and talking football, man. You guys have no idea. But you know, to Nomad's question earlier, and I'm just gonna say this, and I'm just gonna keep it 100%. The arrow is pointing upward. I'm not really concerned about much at all. We got a couple little holes that we got to pay attention to, but I know that I have all faith in Ryan Poles that he's going to take care of that and fill those holes necessary. I just think, man, I'm excited over the fact that what we have that we have not had in over 100 years of this team being in existence, man, however long it's been. We finally have an organization, man, top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
We got an organization. We have a team. We have talent. This is probably the most loaded team we've had in a very long time. And all I'm going to say is this. Don't sleep on the Chicago Bears this season. All right? Don't sleep on them this season. I'm not going to look to next season yet. I'm going to look at this season, and I'm going to say don't sleep on them. But for everybody in the chat, I've missed you guys tremendously. It is so good to be amongst you guys tonight. And Triple R, brother, you know, I don't get a chance to kick it with you much, but tonight, appreciate you jumping in. Nomad, thanks for having me on the Nomad at Night. I actually like the Nomad at Night. I think I fit in well, man. Because
No, don't be trying to barge in, goddammit.
I could be myself.
You on one show now. Don't make me tackle you.
Be myself.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm gonna pass the baton to my man Triple R. But before I go, I just want to say this to the Nomaniacs and everybody out there: bear down. It's football season, y'all.
Yo, I gotta also give another shout out to El Presidente, Kevin Warren, because he was out there because they was like, so El Presidente Kevin, Arlington Heights, Lakefront, what y'all gonna do? He was like, yo, these fools tripping. You know, it's about that paper. We looking at all our options. We'll holler back. You know, it's like word. That's what's
we're gonna mess around and be on the west side or the south side, but we're gonna get a stadium somewhere.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like people in Chicago, you peeping that, people in Arlington Heights, you peeping that, holler at your boy. So, you know, big up to the whole organization from top down. The power of polls compels you. You know, the arrow's definitely pointing up from the front office all the way down to the field. So yeah. Mr. B, big up, you know, kids, what up, Bishop, you know, turn up, y'all, you know, hey, holla, cheers. And Nomad, thanks for having me on, and whole Nomaniacs, all y'all, some of my bitches, you know, big up, much love, and, you know, see you on the interwebs and bear down. And before Mr. B fucked it up, he was rolling so nicely.
Oh, he was doing so well.
Yeah. I thought I was still on the gag order. I got excited.
No. Because where you're sending people will get you to a 404 error or some shit. It's Sports Chicago Style. That's the channel. That's the website. That's all the social medias. So, yeah, big up, y'all.
Hey, man, listen.
Ryan's writing down what a 404 error is right now.
Sorry.
I thought it was a phone number.
Oh, he got his paper and everything.
All right. We gotta get our producer. The dude is back there.
He's got dude, what up, dude?
He's got a
Kez, you,
straight job.
Kez, you
He's got a
sick,
straight
bro.
job, and I'm gonna mute you motherfuckers for like 5 seconds. Y'all gonna shut the fuck up. Nick gotta get out of here. We're gonna get him out of here. But I want to say something to you guys. We've been waiting for months and months and months for some Chicago Bears football.
Yes,
the
we
season
have.
is here. The season is here. I didn't sleep worth shit last night. And that's just how I get every year before football season. It's absolutely normal for me. If I was playing, I'd be that way. You know, I'm not playing. I'm never gonna change. I've given that to the most high. Whatever, if that's ever gonna be fixed in my life, the most high, God, whoever y'all want to call, that's gonna have to change that. But I get absolutely giddy when it comes to this time of the year, and I don't sleep well, especially this time of year when the first game is about to come out. So I was very pleased with what we did. And just to and we're gonna talk about this shit so much this week. And so we don't got to carry on right now. I just want to say thank you to everybody that showed up for the first annual live in-game broadcast. Everybody that showed up there, nobody had to be there. Nobody has to be here. But for whatever reason, you guys love the energy here and you show up and show us that love, man. I'm telling you, y'all got to understand this when I tell you this. I love y'all and ain't a goddamn thing you can do about it. Just for always being here for us. Ain't shit you can do about that. I'm going to love y'all because y'all give it to us and we fucking feel it. We fucking feel it. We may not have seen y'all. We may have never even met y'all, but I'm telling you, you can legit feel the love between these people in this chat section. Man, it's the best freaking community you can ask for in the Bears podcast community. And so I just want to thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. That's just the part of the spirit that you guys give us. And I just wanted to make sure y'all understand it is absolutely reciprocated, man. Everybody that's bought merch from, I'm not going to even mention no names. Everybody that's bought merch. We just put this stuff out here. People are just taking notice to it. I just thank everybody. And I thank you in advance for anybody that's going to go buy that stuff. Everybody that's going to be a part of Kez's Superflex show. Everybody that's involved in checking out, making sure Sports Chicago style over there with Trips. Everybody that's building all this stuff up, man. We thank y'all, man. We thank y'all in a big way, man. I just want to say you don't have to do it, but the fact that you do it ain't lost on us, man. We love y'all and we appreciate y'all. With that being said, hey, I mean this when I say this. If you can think it in this world and you can see it in this world, it's all up to you. Because if you can do both those two things, you can absolutely manifest. Don't forget that third thing. Manifest what you want to see in your life. Stand back and watch it happen before you. That being said, we are out.
Yay, yay.